So there's a couple things that I really want you to know about over desire and what's happening in your brain so that you can understand this process of falling out of love with processed foods that don't serve you and how to fall in love with healthy foods. So over desire is a chemical thing that's happening in your brain that with man-made processed foods, we get this super hit of dopamine. So that's why it feels so addictive and hooked and consuming and like this just intense feeling. So the thing to know about over desire is that you can feel it and have the experience of this intense over desire, and you do have the choice to not respond. So when you stop responding to the over desire, you gain agency in the ability to feel it and not act on it. And you also, at the same time, you start changing your brain neurons. So you start changing the intensity of that over desire. If you've heard about the story with Pavlovian's dogs, what happened is that there was a woman who walked down the wooden walkway in her clogs, and she rang the bell, and then she fed the dogs food. And they noticed that the dogs were having this intense drooling response every time they heard her clogs. So in their brain, they had connected these clogs to the ringing bell to the food. So in order to decondition their physical drool, so I want you to think of the physical drool like that over desire in your brain. So what they did is they walked the clogs down the hall and they didn't give the dogs food. And so the dogs heard the clogs many times and they drooled and they drooled and they drooled, but they didn't get the reward of eating the food. And so after a certain amount of times, they heard the clogs and they didn't drool. That is the deconditioning process. So you have some pretty intense over desires. That's what flour and sugar and processed foods do to us. But you can decondition that drool, that over desire, by not responding to it. So it's just a feeling. You just feel it in your body. You feel it in your brain. And you have the choice to not respond to it. And the true reward is that if you don't respond enough times, then you decondition it. This is a big part of the process that we go through in my gut health program, but this is the cliff notes that if you want to take it and start using it, please do. It is magical. It makes you feel like like most people, we feel totally out of control when it comes to the foods that we're hooked on. So this is the piece of how to internally make changes and control and deprogram that over desire that you feel. Cool, huh? Okay, thank you so much.